presentation.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today is November 19th, 2024. It is 5 p.m. I'll go ahead and call the Yuma County Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order. Can we verify quorum, please?
AJ Mosqueda, Ron Rice,
Here.
Jim Allen, Tim Bowers,
Here.
Danny Bryant,
Here.
Andres Rosales, Scott Mulhern, Gary Black, Bobby McDermott, Ron Van Wy.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you do have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Quick housekeeping. If you have parked in the rear employee gated parking lot behind us, immediately move your car to the front north parking lot to avoid having your car locked in. There is no public egress from the hallway to the south parking lot. The only public entry into the building is through the north entry near the auditorium. All access to the DDS building is limited to staff only as a security precaution. If you wish to speak at the podium, please sign in on the sign-in sheet located at the table by the rear door. Before you speak at the podium, please state your name and address for the record. Please address the chairman and do not speak to the audience or to staff. If you have any handouts to give to the commission, please give them to admin to my right to distribute. Restrooms and drinking fountains are down the hallway behind this meeting room. Feel free to use it. No food or beverage other than water allowed in the meeting room. All right. With that said, we'll go ahead and move on to item number 3, approval of the Planning and Zoning Commission regular meetings of October 22nd, 2024.
Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I move that we approve the minutes as presented.
A second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Minutes are passed. Thank you. Item number 4, rezoning case number 24-19.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Javier Barraza, Senior Planner, presenting rezoning case 2419. The applicant on October 29th requested to put this case on hold. No data specific. And I got in the public, there's people for that case. I don't know if you want to open it to the public for their comment.
Put on hold, do we want to open it to the public or does the public want to wait till it comes back? We'll go ahead and open it to the public if you wish. I'm opening this to the public. Rezoning case number 2419. Please step up if you would like to speak. But for the record, it has been put on hold for any action. Up here to the podium, please.
Gotta come to the podium.
Oh, they moved the chairs. Now you can't walk down the middle. What's going on with the chairs?
Oh.
Our walkway. Welcome. Please step to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Myra Lader, 11727 South Ironwood Drive, Yuma. I live almost directly across the wash from the parcel in question. And I just had a couple of questions. I mean, if it's a housing development, hey, there's going to be housing developments. When we moved here 15 years ago and bought our house, there were no houses along 15E, and now there's lots of houses along 15E, and they're coming toward us, and fine, you know, I mean, that was a big, it's a bug. But one, the other thing I knew was that 40th Street was in the planning maps to go all the way through and meet up with the freeway or the corner of the South Frontage Road and 15E. We always knew it would go through someday, so we figured there would be development. But there has to be a bridge over the wash. And it's never been clear to me if a developer has to put in the bridge or if the city or county are going to put in the bridge. But it seems to me that in order to have access to the parcel that's up for the zoning change, there has to be a bridge. Unless they're going to get there coming from the 15E side, in which case they have to put in a road. So that's, I'm curious to know what the situation with the bridge is. And secondly, I don't know if that property is up high enough to not be in the floodplain. It seems to me the floodplain goes quite a ways that way. And so I don't know what the situation is there. And we also heard probably that it could hold up to 80 dwellings or lots or whatever goes there. And I don't know if you know if that's true or not. So those are my questions.
Is those questions, if you signed up in the sheet and your contact, staff will be happy to reach out and address some of those concerns. Since it's been on hold, we really don't have any answers to give you as
Okay.
well. Some of those general questions, staff will be happy to provide that to you.
Okay.
Okay?
And
Mr. Barrera.
I signed up outside on the sheet. Is there a sheet inside?
No, the one outside is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Or you can
Thank
reach out to Mr. Barraza, so he'll give you his card.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Public would like to comment?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Aaron Selly. My parcel number is 728-07001. There's some concerns I have about this parcel specifically is access directly to it. My parcel is south of his, and I have a section of my parcel that is west of the wash. And I had to have an encroachment permit on it because I was told there was no direct or legal access, even though the county owns the parcel to the north. Which would be directly to his west. So my questions are specifically about his access and his legal access. Because if I had to have an encroachment permit because I didn't have legal access and my parcel stretches to the west of the wash, how is his have legal access as reported by the staff papers? And also the design of this and where 40th Street was going to go, initially they said that it was going to be narrower in that section. So if they took 50 feet of width from the center line, it would actually put the road directly in the living room of the houses on 40th Street on the south side. So I think staff and them asking for a 50-foot wide section of that, an easement section for them to cross the wash with, is just, it's exorbitant because it wouldn't work. I only own 33 feet west of the wash. My parcel length is only 33 feet from center line. So it would literally put it into the neighbor's house on that side of the road. So I think we need to do some better planning with this before we proceed. And that's what I really wanted to ask about, Mr. Chairman, is I understand that, and I've been in here enough times to know that the zoning will go through. I understand that. But the concerns of the community have not been assuaged as far as how planning is going. Asking for an easement that's wider than the land and the property near it would be able to use seems not right. Seems like the planning is going secondary to zoning. And I think what we need to do is the community has had so many concerns over the last 2 years about how this area, and we all understand that's the last good area of the foothills to develop. We understand that. Old RVS is sitting on 3/4 of that area that's south of 40th Street, even though it's now land use code is low density, which RVS doesn't support anymore. So if all of that was built, now I'm not saying it is or it's going to happen anytime soon, but some of the developers have been sitting on RVS for 20 years with no idea moving forward about what they're going to do to this day. They just keep getting extensions. Part of the rezoning process, they're supposed to submit some sort of a plan. It never happens. And that's why we have so many concerns. As she said, it could be up to about 80 units. It could be less if he goes with larger size lots. All of these concerns should be addressed before RVS is granted. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it.
Anyone else from the public? Hi, good afternoon. Good evening.
Speaker there. Okay, I, as a resident of
Please state
the,
your name and address, please.
oh, Linda, Lynda, Marika, 12128 South Paula Avenue. Okay, and I've lived on this property close to 40th Street, and I've watched the development over the years, the 2 lanes, now asphalt, and I know it's proposed to go all the way to Walmart. Now, if we build this subdivision to go the other way, directly out of the ravine, and it has 80 more cars coming, or spaces for trailers, that's one of my concerns. The additional amount of traffic going through the existing area. The other concern is well, how are they gonna get water? Where is their sewer? Are they allowed to put in leach fields in a sewer tank, septic tank? These are all concerns that should have an overall development plan before it's allowed to go further. To just give them an exception without knowing the whole game plan and how they're going to proceed, yeah, I think it should be reviewed intensely before it's just allowed to go through. And it may take years, but then again, as we've built the foothills more and more, the water is less and less for all the new development. And Foothills was originally built with 2 aquifers, and that was their water supply. And now we've had to supplement. Now, if they're allowed to do wells, which the state will allow, into that aquifer again, then how are you going to have water for the existing residents there? Plus 80 or so individual dwellings, and are they trailers? Are they manufactured homes? Are they like tiny homes? What is this? And that's the concern I'd like to have addressed in a game plan of, you know, what their design is before we just push, okay, do it. And then later find out all these things are impacting everyone that bought those parcels to have that ravine in view of the desert for years. But now high density and the extra traffic on Foothills Boulevard, 40th Street, is all that being addressed when you rezone this if they go forward immediately. Okay, thank you.
On this one, we don't need no action, it's just, or we need action to continue, or is it got put on hold, not, what did the applicant request?
Mr. Chairman, you can just take action to continue, and then when they provide staff with information as to when they're ready to proceed, we can advertise and send out radius letters again.
As we've been told to continue, we need a meeting date. No?
Right. No, Mr. Chairman, just continue it indefinitely until we have more information. And at this time, you need to close the public hearing.
I just said, because in the past, we've been told we can't continue the meeting date, a meeting date, but I guess it must be a different process. I'm confusing it with. Okay. Right.
Chairman, just for knowledge, if you're going to set it for a date certain, it will take care of the publication. So it's giving the public notice that it's going to be on a date certain. In this particular case, you don't
Okay,
have a
so
date
it's
certain.
depending
That's why
on
you're
the case.
doing it. Correct. And if you could close the public hearing, please.
Right, so this time we bring it back to the commission for action item. Do we have a motion?
Chairman, I move that we put this on hold until an indefinite time.
Motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, again. Rezoning case number 2420.
Good evening, Richard Munguia, Senior Planner. This request is to rezone a parcel approximately 15.2 gross acres in size from rural area 10-acre minimum to rural area 5-acre minimum. It's also located in the 70 to 74 decibel noise zone. The property is located at 1851 West County 16th Street. And the intent is to split the property into 3 lots for agriculture use and residential homes. All the property in the vicinity is zone RA10, and it's located within the 70 to 74 decibel noise zone. The property is bordered on the west by the United States Bureau of Reclamation B Main Lateral Canal and the elevated service road. Parcel 196-33-030 to the north is in agriculture. Parcel 196-33-031 to the north contains a single-family residence. Parcels 212-04040 and 212-04008 are in agriculture. And additionally, parcel 212-04009 to the south contains a single-family residence. Subject parcel here is outlined in red. It's a 15.2 acre parcel. It's currently enrolled in a fallowing program. It's primarily used for agriculture. There's one single-family residence on site with another under construction. This property has access via County 16th Street. And this is a bird's eye view of the same property and the nearby properties. It's outlined in blue. This is the proposed site plan if the zoning is approved. The applicant stated that they would be open to removing the proposed 40-foot easement between parcel 2 and 3 upon submission of the land division. And that commitment is included in the schedule for development. It's item number 4, which was added after the commission received their staff reports. Staff did receive 2 comments in opposition, but the comments from MCAS coming in after the staff report was received, and you should have that document in front of you right now. The request to rezone the property to RA5 is similar to other properties in the area. It does maintain the rural character of the area and fits the densities and intensities of the comprehensive plan. The applicant did agree with the conditions and schedule for development on November 18th, 2024 via email. And staff is recommending approval subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report and shown here. That concludes my presentation, and if you have any questions, I'm available. I'm going to defer that question to the applicant, but as far as I'm aware, I believe that was agriculturally exempt.
Questions from commission? Yes, sir.
Yes, we have a.
It's, hold on one second, let me pull this up right quick. It's staff's determination, I guess, that it does meet plate 7 in the land use matrix. It says, single-family residential that is the primary residence for persons engaging in agriculture use and ancillary residential buildings incident to the primary agriculture use is a permitted use under that plate in the 70 to 74 decibel noise zone. The applicant is in a fallowing program right now, and they can give you more information on that process and when it ends and what they plan to do with it after.
Criterion was not met prior to December 31st,
I don't see there's the ag designation.
Correct.
Residential is one thing, and then ag residential will be the other part of it.
I just realized that we're on mute. Push your red button. Oh, thank you. So that Mr. Chairman, that does make the difference for me. Thank you.
Any additional questions from commissioners?
If I could follow up a little bit. So if this is ag exempt property, he don't need any kind of permit to build homes, so he must be wanting to sell these parcels. Is that reasonable?
I can defer that to the applicant.
Okay, and so these ag exempt parcels don't require that they be under some use, some agricultural use? I mean, fallow is an agricultural use?
Um, I'll let the applicant get more into it, but the
Well, I
following.
mean, from the county's perspective, I know
For-
what the applicant's going to tell
Okay,
me.
from staff's perspective, I would say yes, the following program, it would be agricultural use. It's currently undergoing, he can identify exactly what it is, but it is being fallowed right now. And at some point, he is going to turn it back into agricultural land.
Did you say that there's, all of the other surrounding parcels are zoned, rural area 10 acres?
I'm sorry, what was that?
That all of the surrounding parcels were 10-acre zoning?
They are, correct. They're all zoned RA10.
Although this would be 5, that's still compatible from your perspective.
Correct. As you can see by the slide here, not all of them, I don't believe, are 10-acre minimum. Like the parcels to the east, I don't believe they're fully 10 acres, but they are still zoned RA10.
Yeah, I know that.
I have a question about this fallowing, because is this parcel within the Yuma County or Yuma Mesa Irrigation and Drainage District?
Yes,
Pardon?
it is.
Or is it fallowed just because they didn't want to do anything with it, or is he being paid not to grow anything?
So for all the questions regarding the following program, I'll let the applicant give that testimony. I can't answer those questions.
Questions to
I
staff in
think we
regards to
need
the staff part? You good?
We need to find out exactly what's going on with it, because,
That's what I'm trying to do,
yeah.
Okay.
The applicant is here.
Okay, so at this time, I'll go ahead and invite the applicant to address any concerns and answer any questions. Please state your name and record.
Steve McMahon, 1851.
Share some of the concerns here. Would you like to address some of the questions and questions?
Yes, I'll start with the following program. I'm in the Yuma Mesa Irrigation District, and it's been in the following program for 2.5 years already, and it goes through the end of 2025. The purpose of that is to retain water in Lake Mead. And okay.
I didn't know, that was my question. If it was in Yuma Mesa, I know that Yuma Mesa does.
Yes, and it is, fallowing is an agricultural use. I talked to Bruna, she's the temporary manager of the Yuma Mesa Irrigation District, and they actually have an agreement with the county that is an ag use, because they had a lot of homeowners who questioned whether that was an ag use or not. And so it is cleared up, and I'll get a letter on that in the morning. I just found out about this late this afternoon. As far as both the airport and the Marine base have both objected to this development because of the noise zone. And I think in addition to that, the Marine base said something about a crash zone. As you can see on the map, there's already a number of parcels that are under 10 acres in the immediate vicinity of my property. So it doesn't seem like it's going to change that. In addition to that, there's already 2 residences on this property. And so it's really going to only increase the density by 1 residence. And I had the same question about the response from the Marines as the gentleman, Ron, the gentleman had. It seems like they're operating off 2 different, between county planning and the Marine base, 2 different sets of rules. This is a residential agricultural lot. That's the intent. It was in Lemons 2.5 years ago. They were 25 years old, so I pushed them out, and that's when we went into the fallowing program.
What is your intent with the land division? I mean, you're trying to split the 10-acre parcel into, the parcel to 3 parcels?
Right. Now, the parcel, the one parcel, prospective parcel, has a house on it. I live in that house. The one under construction will end up being on parcel 2. It's a larger house. I'm intending on bringing my mother and my pops down. She's caring for him. He's 92 years old and has dementia. So that is my intent for the immediate future, complete that house for them. And then on the parcel 1, that will be developed for sale. And that's simply for revenue to carry me forward.
And what happens, and this is probably more questions to staff, what happens when it loses that agricultural, the fallow designation for future? If
In my discussions with the applicant, he stated that he had pre-purchased some agriculture stuff. I'm not really sure what it was. Steve, if you could.
Yes. Yeah. When the fallowing program is over, I intend to put it first into alfalfa to kind of renovate the soil. And then I also have, from a neighbor, pre-ordered date palms. And so that will play in there as well. And then, of course, lemons will go back onto that property. In the past, I've purchased and planted lemons from Sunset Nursery. So that's where we'll order them from again. But the intent is to kind of want to say hobby farm, but lemons bring in $7,000 an acre. So, it's kind of a nice bump to be able to receive that much income off of a property as well as be able to live on it.
my question was more for parcel 1 then, because that's the one you're talking about reselling.
Yeah, that will go, I can't put water on it, so I can't really grow anything until the fallowing program is over at the end of 25. I intend to develop that with a house before I would sell it. So the time frame for that, I really don't have one. I don't know how long this process is going to take. The current house under construction will probably be complete by March or April.
I'm a little confused as to how come there's building now that didn't have any, or was it just the fact that because it's agriculture, well, he could do what he wanted? I would like to see at least some clarification of the military's position on the state statute and what's happening here before we vote on it. I just don't. It just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense.
Call up to the public. I'm pretty sure the representative will be up here, but I'm not sure if he's an attorney to clarify the statutes that you're asking for him to look into. I mean, what I'm understanding without being an attorney is the statute that we're going by has an exemption because it's ag-related property. Military is going off of the same statute, but they're not looking at the exemption that says this is ag exempted. So that's the way I'm understanding it. I don't know if that's the way the military is, but
Does that then present a problem for the county?
Mr. Chairman? It is the planning director's determination that if the property is used for general agricultural purposes, and if it's 5 or more contiguous commercial acres, it will be exempt or is exempt from zoning. a general agricultural purpose can also be something that is incidental to agriculture, such as the storage of farm equipment, or anything else related to farming. It doesn't have to be, the property doesn't have to be farmed itself to be considered being used for general agricultural purposes.
I get it. I think we all get it. I think it's I don't know if I should say this out loud, but the loophole has been found in regards to being able to build these houses on the parcels, because if it wasn't for the ag, we would be getting the county telling us, no, this is not a recommended project because of the decibel noise from the marine station, right? If it wasn't the ag exemption that on these parcels, we would be having a different conversation, correct?
Correct.
But again, my concern goes again, not my concern, but my question goes again, how do you control parcel one then in the future? There's no control in it that it has to remain ag in 10 years from now, 15 years from now. As soon as he's done with it in 2025, that exemption is off and it's a house and you can sell it, right? That's
You can sell it anyway.
right.
Mr. Chairman,
The ag exemption will stay on 5 contiguous acres as long as he puts lemons on it.
I just think we're getting ahead of ourselves because he can't do anything theoretically till end of 25 with this property. So I think, I would like to see him pull this away and just wait until, and get it out of that ag thing. I mean, it's ag, I mean, it'll stay in ag, but legally, right now with it, he can't do anything. And I think it's a waste of our time and his trying to do this subdivision when it doesn't. Right now is not a good time. I think we need to wait another year and come back and revisit this.
Well, it wouldn't be a subdivision, it's just a lot split. That's what it is. Yeah.
This is currently for the rezone.
For
The
the
next,
rezone?
yeah, the next step would be,
Is it lot split?
yeah.
So
Now,
this is-
also, the one of the permitted uses on a RA5 as well as an RA10 is one single-family residence. So it's not an ag exempt, it's not bypassing, it's not a loophole. That is an allowed use, and it's under Article 6, Section 601. So every one of those lots that's in that area could have a single-family residence on it. If,
on the full parcel, but what you're trying to do, that would be a different scenario because we would have staff recommending no because that would go against statute because of the marine.
yes. Now, the Marine keeps calling it residential. If you notice on their comments, that's all they say is residential. This is not residential, it's rural or residential agriculture, rural agriculture. And residential is an approved use on those parcels.
Any additional questions? No? Hearing none, now I'll go ahead and open it up to the public for, thank you, sir. I'll open it up to the public for any questions, concerns? No? Mr. Antonio says no. All right, bringing it back to the commission. All right, do we have a motion or need further discussion? I mean, motion first for discussion.
I'll shoot from the hip.
Go ahead, sir.
Chairman, I move that we approve rezoning case number 24-20 as presented by staff.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. At least we can open it up for discussion. Any discussion before we call to vote? No discussion? No discussion? No discussion. Great. See, that's why I want to be. All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any against?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to do a roll call. Ron Rice?
No.
No
Powers?
pressure. Natia.
Yes.
Danny Bryant?
I vote aye.
Jose Rosales?
Seriously.
Scaredy cat.
Aye.
Bobby McDermott? Roman Y?
I don't want to vote.
Aye.
What was your motion?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Chairman, that is one that gives me a lot of heartburn to vote
too.
aye on, but I believe it is illegal.
Yeah.
process that we should follow.
I'm in the same boat.
Motion passes. Thank you. And for the record, we're not laughing at you. We're
not at all.
laughing at the situation that we're in because trust me.
No.
It's
If
not
I
an
was in
easy.
your seat, I'd be doing the same thing you are.
Not putting it in an easy position. We're not popular some way, both ways, and it was hard to.
All right.
Where are we at? Rezoning case.
That was very unusual.
Rezoning case 24-22.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jesus Carrillo, Senior Planner, presenting representing case 2422. This is a request to rezone a parcel 6,850 square feet in size for manufactured home subdivision, 10,000 square foot minimum to manufactured home subdivision, 6,000 square foot minimum. Property is located in the northwest Yuma plan area, south side of Columbia Avenue, approximately 495 feet east of Center Street in Yuma, and the intent is to allow residential development. This is the zoning map, the subject property, it's highlighted in red. The properties in yellow are zone MHS 10. The properties in green are zone R3. And finally, the property in blue is zone MHS 6. This is the aerial view. The subject property is highlighted in red, outlined in blue. This is the another aerial view of the subject property, outlined in blue. And this is a picture looking south of the subject property, looking west, looking east. No comments received from outside agencies. Staff recommends approval of this request based on the request being in compliance within this comprehensive plan, subject to the following performance conditions. Within 60 days of approval by the Board of Supervisors, the owner or agent shall record an infrastructure disclosure statement. And that concludes the presentation. Any questions?
It's currently MHS 10, right?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. That's correct. That's correct. Mr. Chairman, the reason why they want to rezone this parcel is they bought the property not in compliance with the current zoning, MHS 10. And the intention is to actually develop to 6. That's the only way to develop this land, to get a rezone to MHS 6.
Mr. Chairman, the property is currently less than 7,000 square feet, and it's zoned MHS. So under the current zoning district, the property cannot be developed. In order to be developed, it has to be zoned to an appropriate zoning district.
Just narrow it down.
Tell him, Cruz.
Made it simple.
Any additional questions from staff? I mean, from commissioners and staff?
Give it more history.
Public? Anyone from the public for or against this item? Entertain a motion.
After the lengthy explanation, I approve that we approve this rezoning case 24-22 as presented by staff.
I'll second.
Hold on.
Could I hear the explanation again?
Make sure we got it.
All in favor, say
Aye.
Aye.
Continue.
Oh, yep.
Richard Munguia, Senior Planner. The intent of this discussion is to obtain direction from the Commission on whether or not to move forward with the proposed changes that we're going to discuss. I believe it's September of 2024. Oh, whoops. Okay, we'll go back to this one then. And it's to amend the zoning ordinance revising sections 202 definitions, 602.02 permitted uses, 603.02 permitted uses, 604.02 permitted uses, 624.02 permitted uses, and then adding a section 1108.19 backyard fowl. And the intent of this is to comply with the ARS 11-820.04, which was enacted by state legislature effective September 14th, 2024. The ARS states that the county could not adopt any law, ordinance, or other regulations that prohibits a resident of single-family detached residence on a lot that is 1/2 acre or less in size from keeping fowl on the backyard of the property. But the county can prohibit a resident from keeping roosters, require an enclosure to be located in the rear or the side yard of the property, at least 15 feet from a dwelling, with a maximum height of 8 feet, a maximum size of 200 square feet. We can require the enclosure to be maintained and manure to be picked up and disposed of or composted at least twice weekly, and require that composted manure be kept in a way that prevents migration of insects. We can require water sources with adequate overflow drainage, feed that is stored in insect-proof and rodent-proof containers, and prohibit fowl from running at large. So the proposed changes are shown here on the screen. Text that's proposed to be removed is a strike through, and to be added is in bold. In the definitions, we're getting rid of the domestic farm type animals and modifying farm animals small, removing the word fowl and replacing it later on with poultry. Adding the definition for fowl to be a chicken, adding the definition for poultry to be basically any other bird than chicken, changing livestock to be cattle, equine, swine, sheep, and goats, except feral pigs, which matches the definitions in the ARS. Section 602, the permitted uses, we're changing C to remove the raising of poultry, rabbits, and other. So it's just going to be small farm animals. It's the same thing, it's just cleaned up a little bit. And it allows the keeping of livestock instead of specifying horses and other large farm animals. And that same cleanup is being done in sections 603, 604, and 624. And then backyard fowl, the section that's being added identifies that it's up to 6 fowl, which matches with the ARS. This shall be kept in the backyard of the property. Roosters are not allowed. The fowl shall be enclosed, kept in an enclosure on the rear or the side, at least 20 feet from the neighboring property. Cannot be larger than 200 square feet with a maximum height of 8 feet. The manure shall be picked up and disposed of or composted at least twice weekly. And the composted manure shall be kept in a way that prevents migration of insects. Water sources shall have adequate overflow drainage. The feed being stored in the insect-proof and rodent-proof containers. Cannot have the fowl running at large. And an enclosure located in a residential community on a lot less than 1 acre in size shall be shorter than the fence line of the property. And all of these things match with what the IRS states the county can do. Staff is recommending that the commission provide input on moving forward with an amendment to the zoning ordinance. And I'm available for questions.
One, and I could be wrong, as very, very seldom, I know, but it can happen. You talked about 20 feet as far as distance from residence and or building, but then I thought you referenced 15 feet earlier.
Yes, that's correct. The ARS states that it could be at least 15 feet, and the county's position is going to be 20, which could be, if you decide that you want to change that, that could be changed.
Can I? No, no.
Mr. Chairman,
Work your way down.
what if the height of the hutch or the pen, what if there is no fence? on a neighboring property.
There is a provision in there that states that the enclosure cannot be taller than 8 feet.
Yes. If I follow this correct, the homeowner is limited to 6 chickens?
Correct.
And what about guinea pigs? Is there a limit on guinea pigs?
Guinea pigs?
Yeah, the little guinea pigs you raise for 4-H and sell.
So this is specifically only for chickens, domestic chickens. As far as the limit on guinea pigs, that I couldn't tell you. If you're talking about guinea fowl, which is poultry, it's defined in poultry as well. And I don't believe we have a...
Is that what I'm...
Is there already a rabbit, one for rabbits?
Yeah,
like
it's,
cavies?
that's under... Let me show you really... Farm animals small. The definition for farm animals small should have rabbits.
Chairman, can I inquire, what, I mean, we understand what the state has passed this that says the counties are required to allow fowl. Is that correct?
Correct.
Do we restrict it now, or are we just cleaning up?
I believe it is restricted in some portions of the code. There's some places that don't permit small animals, small farm animals.
And fowl today is under small farm animals?
Fowl today, let me just double check, but I believe so.
That's right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is right there,
Thank you.
which I've learned.
But in some instances, you're wanting to go stricter than the state has told us we have to go.
Only in the distance from the enclosure to the neighboring property.
Does the state law determine whether the fowl have to be maintained in their coop all day long, or can they be let out to roam during the day?
The state doesn't specify that. The state says that the county can make those regulations if they so desire. And one of those is that we would prohibit fowl from running at large.
The county would be stricter than the state
Correct.
for this proposal that you're asking us to take a look at.
Correct.
How has, I mean, this could affect FHA and 4-H projects?
No, this would be completely separate from that.
Could not affect them?
That's correct. It wouldn't be able to affect them because this is specifically for backyard chickens, which is something different that people would keep year round versus FFA, which they would do for a specific period of time.
And Mr. Chairman, however, this may allow the kids that are in 4-H or FFA to not have to apply for a temporary use permit for an FFA or 4-H animal.
So who would be the stakeholders that should take a look at this? Has this been run by anyone else before us, or are we getting the first look at it?
Mr. Chairman, we did publish something in the county's Facebook page and social media pages. And I believe there was a display ad in the newspaper also to notify the general public that this discussion was taking place. We have not received any comments from any stakeholders.
Are you going to address the other animals though, like goats? Here they're swiped
Mr.
out.
Chairman, staff is addressing something that was addressed under a statutory provision that was recently passed. That is what we're addressing today. We're not addressing any other animals, anything else other than backyard fowl, which are chickens.
You're changing some terms, but you're not
Yes.
changing any rules.
Correct.
All the other rules will be changed, so you're just trying to get us in line with state law. And in one or two areas, a little more restrictive. You're not going to let the fowl run loose, and the state would, and you're going to require 20 feet.
Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, the statute that went into effect provides that we cannot put restrictions on keeping up to 6 fowl in the backyard. That's all that it says. But it says the county may adopt some regulations as to maintaining those fowl. And it specifically says what we can put in there in terms of prohibiting the roosters and setting the distance, citing that the enclosure has to be maintained and manure picked up. So we're not doing anything different than what the statute is allowing. The statute is telling us that we cannot restrict it.
And if we proceeded forward and say, yeah, let's take a look at this, you would go out, advertise this, bring it back, and then there would be a public hearing? Would there still be a public hearing in front of us? Is that accurate?
Correct. Mr. Chairman, you can either move this forward as is, or you can propose changes to it. And either way, it'll move forward either as it's currently written or with changes, depending on the input that is obtained.
For my clarification, this is just addressing fowl, and later on we'll address other potential 4-H animals?
No.
Correct. This is not concerning 4-H or FFA projects.
Okay.
This is for those people
That have chickens in their backyard. Like
in a residential neighborhood like my house, I could have my lot 6,000 square feet. I could go ahead and have chickens back there, but these are the rules that I have to follow.
It's chickens, no roosters, please.
The only part that I don't agree with is I'm surprised at the 2024 mail-in chicken. Again. But, they're gonna come in later on and say discriminate against the poor rooster. That's a whole different issue.
What does MCAS have to say about it?
No roosters.
Hey, they have homes in their base. They can get
Noise decibel.
Yeah, so again, we're addressing this because of the state statute that passed.
So the real question to us, would we like staff to proceed with, as they suggested, which puts these little conditions on that the state said we could? Or would we just want them to go by state law and say, we don't want to limit 15 feet's fine, and we don't want to limit whether they. I mean, so.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
if you didn't have any regulations listed, it would just say you can have 6 backyard, your 6 fowl. So there would be no regulations whatsoever as to what they can do with them.
I'm concerned when we get into the enforcement on how chickens.
That was my question, but again, that's gonna be a complaint basis. If someone calls, that's down the road. Who's gonna realize that was picked up twice a week?
How are we gonna know if it was or not?
Well, you know, and that's the thing.
People don't like to pass things that can't be enforced.
Well, you know,
Set up
and I
cameras.
agree, and I understand staff's point of view and wanting to do some type of policing, if you will. But you are correct. There's nobody that's
No
going to
way to
enforce
enforce it.
No, there is not. But if a neighbor calls and complains, that's what it's like any other thing right now. If the county doesn't have the staff to police all the stuff that happens illegal in the foothills. I would say foothills.
Now, Mr. Chairman, did staff just pull this out of their back pocket, or was there complaints and concerns that led to their changes?
Regarding the,
Recommended restrictions?
According to the recommended conditions such as cleaning up and
those are basically mirrored off of what the ARS states. The ARS states pretty much the exact same thing except for the 15 and 20 discrepancy that we discussed.
Yeah.
We could do it, we don't have.
Yeah, a new state law came out. They're just building on that.
now I'm tracking. Okay, but then I'm ready to make a motion if anybody wants to hear it.
Sounds good.
I move that we move forward with the recommendations as presented by staff.
I'll second.
I will ask one question. Trying to picture R1 6,000 square foot lot. Size 2020, so the chicken coop would have to be in the middle of the lot, pretty much. 20 feet this way, 20 feet this way. So you better be creative on how you build that in.
Yes.
All right, we have a motion. We have the second.
I have a second.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? All right, motion passes. It's okay for once in a while to have regulations, sir. It's okay. You don't want a chicken smelling next door.
We don't want the dang roosters. I miss the peacocks.
All right, discussion
really?
and
They're beautiful.
commission. Director of Events, attend current events. Any events or anything? Call to the public. This is time for the public. Anyone from the public would like to speak? Bruce, would you like to speak?
Jack
No?
Gross.
No?
All right, cool. He said no.
Yeah, we have probably 15, 16.
Right? Done. Thank you.